Hey guys, welcome back to High School Football Talk with Dave Fawcett, our sports editor. And the regular season is officially capped off, Dave. We're staring down the playoffs. Why don't you give us the lay of the land?
Sure. So kind of an exciting finish on Friday night because the top eight teams make the regional playoffs, and so in Class Six Region B, we knew coming in, as we talked about last week, there were five spots that were determined, five teams that were in. There was just a question of seeding for them. The bigger question, what was going to happen to the final three spots? Well, as it turned out, the final spot there was a tie between Gar-Field and Brook Point, and they ended up having to go to a tiebreaker, which they did for common opponents based on common opponents the two teams played and what that record was, and ended up Gar-Field got the got the nod because they had a better record against common opponents than Brook Point did. But so that was something that was Gar-Field lost, Brook Point won, but Gar-Field was able to get in the playoffs. And as we talked about, the PowerPoints have there's a lot of variables there. It's not just based on record. There's it's who you beat. Obviously in district, outside of district, and the points that come with that. And so Brook Point would have gotten in if I believe it was King George had beaten Chancellor. Chancellor ends up beating King George on a last second field goal. So, there's all these different variables. You had Colgan, who was 7-3, had a better record than either of those two teams, wasn't even really in the running. And that had a lot to do with strength of schedule. They just didn't, have enough extra points based on their wins that really was able to kind of get them over the top. So what was really good is that the region was really on top of this. They were prepared. They had run the Chris Denno, who's the athletic director at Mountain View High School in Stafford. He was kind of the one responsible this year for the region compiling points, and so he had scenarios already played out. So he knew going in, hey, this could be a possibility. So they really the games were over by 9:45 at the latest. Within 20 minutes, he had everything out, and hey, these are the final points. These are the matchups. So it was pretty clear cut. So that was sort of everything else kind of really fell into place. Forest Park won like they were supposed to. They got in. Independence got in, and then obviously the top five. Kind of really no big surprises there. Forge is number one. Battlefield's number two. North Stafford stayed at three, and then really Woodbridge, even though Woodbridge and Patriot both won, Woodbridge just got the fourth spot. Patriots five. So things worked out at least for the most part there where they're supposed to be. But it was that eighth spot that was really really interesting how that played out.
And they really backed into it when you lose your final regular season game, but you still can manage to get in. So
Right.
good work, perhaps some luck on the way for Gar-Field. Moving along here, you have kind of underlined this Patriot Woodbridge game on Friday. Why is that such, I guess, kind of a highlighted game on the schedule for you?
Well, you've got 9-1 Woodbridge against 8-2 Patriot. Both teams have really good offenses. They've really been putting up a lot of points. Season balanced offenses, running, passing, receiving, well coached teams. So, it's the 4 or 5 matchup, and usually those are the more evenly matched anyway. But I think this one really is, and really could go either way. I mean, the game's at Woodbridge, but Patriots, they're a veteran, playoff team. I mean, they've made playoffs. I believe it's 10 straight years now, 10 straight seasons. Woodbridge is in for the second year, but they're a veteran group. So I think just all those factors, I think kind of just I'd be shocked if it was a lopsided outcome for either team. I just think the way they're playing, what they're capable of, could really make for I would be surprised if it was a defensive. It could be a defensive battle, but I think with the offenses and the way they've been playing, it could be quite a shootout.
Yeah, I guess kind of once you get in the playoffs, you wonder if nerves are going to play a factor, and that could kind of infringe, I guess, on the offensive production. Where is that game at? Where's that game being played?
It's at Woodbridge.
It's
So
at
by getting the
Woodbridge,
fourth seed instead of the fifth,
of
they
course.
get to host a first round game. So that help them, as well. But they're looking really strong. They beat Gar-Field to close out the regular season Friday, 42 to or last Friday, 42 to 14. So they're firing on all cylinders. Patriot is as well as far as their offense goes. So they're it's they should be well matched, I would think.
Yeah, and it's almost, now we're talking about 2.5 months ago when we first started chatting here. But I think you had your eye on Woodbridge, right out the gate, if I'm remembering
Yeah, that's
correctly.
correct. Yeah, when did my preseason poll. I had them at number two. So they're real. This is not a shock that they're where they're at. They're 9-1. This is their best record since 2017 when they went to the state semifinals. But it's not a shocker, and I would put Patriot in the same boat. I mean, I think I had them at number three coming in. So this is as far as that goes, it's not a surprise, Matt. That they're going to meet each other. But what is interesting, they've played each other in regular season, but they've never faced each other in the postseason. So that's going to be another. This will be a first time for them for that.
Yeah, I mean 9-1. That is an impressive season. The same as as Powerhouse Battlefield, right? I mean they finished
Right.
9-1 as well. So.
Right.
Well, something we haven't hit on or touched on too much here is the kind of burgeoning popularity of flag football and ladies flag football. And I think we want to give a quick shout out to the Brentsville flag football
Yeah.
squad. Yeah, which before you jump in, I want to remind everybody that you did such a wonderful feature and kind of look at the Brentsville flag football squad, and it really kind of hit on how, I guess, how serious and how significant some of these players are getting into it. So folks can kind of run back and check out that feature, which was, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago or so. But it's such a kind I love to see this growing popularity.
I think that was this is the first year of Prince William County fielded girls high school flag football teams. It was helped a lot by the NFL, in particular the Washington Commanders. They are, they're financially supporting a lot with, money for uniforms and equipment and all that. But there was a lot of interest. Now, Brent's, but this was kind of new for everyone. You don't have veteran flag football coaches or veteran flag football players, so they all were kind of, starting at the same place. But with Brentsville, they're the smallest. They were the smallest school. Well, they're in Prince William County. They're a 3A school based on their enrollment, and they were going up against primarily 6A schools, which is the largest enrollment. But they finished the season with 17 players, but that core group had a lot of very good athletes on it. Kids who are, all state basketball, softball, soccer. So they really they had they were small, but they were pretty talented. They knew each other already because they play multiple sports out there, so they had a really good cohesion. And so they dominated. They went 11-0. I think they recorded their 11 wins. 9 of them were I believe by shutout. And so they ended up winning the whole thing this past Saturday, actually on their home field out in Nokesville. They beat Patriot 15-6, and but it was a big thing. And like not only for Brentsville, but what you mentioned earlier, and I think that was the bigger thing. It was kind of a big shout out for just girls sports and for girls high school sports. It's another opportunity for them, and you saw that there was a lot of interest, and it's only going to. I would think that they'd be pleased with the results this year and what they saw, and then it's something now to build on. As the county looks at this and goes down the road with it. But yeah, it was a nice finish. The command Rick Doc Walker and Mark Mosley, two former Washington Redskin greats, were out at the game. A couple Commander cheerleaders were there, so kind of adding to the atmosphere. And so it was a nice way to end what's kind of been sort of a special season for all the girls and all the teams who were doing this, and then to see that through. So good for them. Congratulations.
Remind me, yes, absolutely. Congratulations to those Brentsville ladies. It wasn't quite every Prince William High School, but many of them. Is
all
that
of
right?
them, all of them except one. Yeah,
Okay,
all the
okay.
Prince William County public high schools except for one were able to field the team. So I think they ended up with 13 total schools in the tournament. They actually included Kettle Run out of Nokesville. I mean, technically they're a Fauquier County school, but they probably didn't have, they had a team, but no,
Only
this was the
three high
closest,
schools out there.
right? And
Yeah.
this was the closest for them to participate. But so they were able to get 13 schools. They did a first round quarter. They had a full fledged tournament, and so yeah, they were able to to have a good number of teams and kids and just have a overall, I think, probably a good experience.
So for this Friday, back on kind of the boys beat, are we going to be out at the Woodbridge game? Very cool.
That'll
Very
be the
good.
one.
Can't
Yes.
can't can't wait to see how it plays out. Everyone, please check out our coverage. Head on over to InsideNoVa.com. I will be having a stern conversation with my lighting crew here today. I realize I'm a little electric. Uh, changes may need to be made. However, it's good that we're heading into the playoffs. I know there's a lot of excitement running through the high school hallways right now as we head into playoff season. Dave, I know you're looking forward to see how everything plays out, and we should have all kinds of good matchups coming up these next few weeks here. So check out InsideNoVa.com for our sports coverage, our coverage on everything else. Give us a like and follow on Facebook. Sign up for our email newsletters. Like us on Instagram, and we will be back here next week. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Trevor.
See you guys.